Hello friends, I am Chevy. Welcome to my shed. How are you today? How's life in your world? How's things where you are? I hope everything is good and great and wonderful and fantastic. I did that yesterday. Sorry. Everything here is good. If you haven't noticed this week, I have been significantly more productive. And it feels good. It feels good to come down here and make things, you know, make a tray, make a chair, make a thing, and whatever. This turned out much better than I anticipated. After seeing what I did yesterday, I came back and I think the secret is a brush. Yesterday I used a sponge and I think that was a really bad choice. Today I used, so what I did is I took some synthetic steel wool and rubbed it out and then tack clothed it real quick and gave it another coat with a brush, and it is significantly better. Much improved. Still a little bit tacky. It's been sitting in here in the heat. I was hoping I was going to be able to have this out tomorrow on display and stuff. I'm going to have company, but it's not going to happen. I need to let these sit for probably a couple of days to cure. I think that company says that paint takes like 7 days to cure. But one of the things that I've been doing in secret, and I haven't been able to show, and I haven't seen it yet, is what's in here. So my youngest, Monster, turns 12 on Sunday, and I've been asking, like, what do you want for your birthday? What do you want for your birthday? And one of those answers was, I want you to make me a book. So they've been into cosplay for a while now, making fursuits and that sort of stuff. And they've been working on a character that is a fairy that goes on adventures. And so they said, I want to make a book that's like holds quill pens and some dice, and like, you know, it's supposed to be, this fairy made the book. It's supposed to be handmade. It's supposed to have, you know, that kind of rough, rustic feel. So I've been trying to make a book, and this is the result of that. Ruh-roh, I should have thought of this. I didn't think about how this leather would react to being pressed between boards, but I didn't know how else to do this. The thing was, they wanted the cover to have pen slots, so there's two pen slots here, something like this. There's a little pouch down here where they can put some dice or whatever the fairy is carrying around on them with their book, and they wanted to have it clasp. So I've got a bone, like an actual deer bone here, antler bone button. And I've never made a book, but this is legitimately, I took artist paper and tea stained it, and then I, you know, cut leather to fit. I've got this cardstock paper insert. I hadn't seen this yet. I was worried that it wouldn't dry, which seems to be the case. It seems to be still very tacky and very wet. I don't know if it'll ever actually dry, but there, you know, this is one of those projects where my kid asked for it and I thought, I don't know how to do that. Like, I have no concept of how to make a book. It's not something I've ever done. It's not something I've ever thought about doing, but I've seen people do it. You know, some people that I follow on YouTube have made books, and I've watched them make them, and I've at least seen the concept of how it's supposed to work. So when they said, I really want you to make me a book, I think that, you know, this is something that I could have gone and bought. I have purchased similar products in the past from people, you know. This is a thing you can go buy. You can buy a handmade leather-bound journal. But I think that for the kid, the significance of this wasn't necessarily that they wanted a handmade journal. The significance of this was they wanted their dad to make them a handmade journal. So I did it. And it was a scary process just because, again, it's not something I've ever done. It's not something I've considered doing. It's but the part about the part that I'm trying to get to is the thing about this is it's supposed to look like this. It's supposed to be this handmade piece. It's supposed to not be perfect, but I did it in a, you know, I still, that gave me license to mess it up if I need it, if it messed up, which it hasn't. I'm pretty happy with it. It needs to dry, but I'm pretty happy with it. It gave me license to be okay with it if it did go sideways. But I also, because I'm me, tried to make it as properly as possible. I sewed the pages into signatures. A signature is like 4 to 5 sheets of paper that are stitched together. I made 3 signatures. I stitched those signatures together the same way you would stitch an actual book together. I made a cover. I put starting and end pages. I did all of the things you're supposed to do to make a book like this. But I also, you know, because it's a handmade thing that a fairy made, you know, in the story, I got the license to make it's okay for it to be messed up. And that gave me the freedom to try. And that's all I'm trying to say. You know, the other day I talked about, you know, when Jimmy DiResta said something that really hit me hard. He said that people use people use perfectionism as an excuse to avoid confrontation. Sometimes you've got to take that excuse away from yourself. Sometimes you've got to just say, I don't have an excuse. My excuse, I don't need that excuse. I'm just going to do it. And I think that's what I've done here. This is, you know, the end result is I've made something that I think is what was ordered, and I think it will suit the purpose fine, and I think that it's good enough, which is sometimes better than having never started at all. Sometimes good enough is just fine, and I think this is one of those cases. So that's all I have for you today. Thank you for being here as always. Thank you for liking and commenting, subscribing, being amazing friends and wonderful people. I've got Monster here tonight, and they're gonna spend the day with me tomorrow for their birthday, and I'm gonna try to bake a cake, which is also something I've never done, and make steak dinner and just have a good day together. So thank you. Thank you for supporting me. Thank you for being my best friends in the whole wide world. I'll see you again on Monday. Today's word you should know to sound smart is encomium. It is a noun meaning effusive praise given in a public forum. The CEO's encomium at Phil's retirement dinner caused his eyes to mist over. Encomium. 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 I've never heard that. Effusive praise in a public forum. Is that, you know, would that be like what they do when they announce, like when, you know, a comedian comes out and they say, you've seen him on this and this and this and this? I guess that's an encomium.